Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week it's catastrophic, we are talking about Extinction.
Extinction?
I know, and it's episode 66.
66?
Oh yeah, stick around if you want to hear more. Hello Dad.
Hello there.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not great, but not too bad.
Oh dear, why is that?
Well, you know, it's because I've broken 2 ribs 2 weeks ago, and they're still giving me a bit of jip.
Still broken?
Well, I guess they're on the mend, but they're not on the mend as quickly as I'd hoped. So, you know, and bearing in mind we have a rather important running weekend coming up, I'm a little bit concerned about it. But never mind.
I thought you were going to say I'm a little teapot then.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, here's my
spout.
Yeah, anyway, so yes, it's been giving me some grief. I've been off work, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it will start getting better soon.
Yeah.
You all right, though? You've got no injuries, have you?
Not that I know of.
No, you're wearing a medal.
Yep, it was on my desk because I'm wearing it. It's from last weekend when we did Edinburgh. No, we didn't.
No, you didn't. What are you talking about?
We did Colchester Zoo 10k.
Yes, did that go well for you?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Right.
Did it go well for you?
Yeah. No. Thank you for asking. Anything else you want to cover while we're...
It's at the time of recording, it's International Tea Day.
International Tea Day, and we've both got a cup of tea, haven't we?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. I love tea.
Yep.
Yep. Great.
What is it? One of your favourite letters of the alphabet?
I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite letters of the alphabet. I mean, it's no S, but it's my favourite hot beverage.
Is S your favourite letter?
No, not really.
Oh.
It's no R.
Oh, is R your favourite letter?
No, I'm not going to do this.
How about D?
D's a good one because it's the beginning of my and the end of my name.
Ah, and it's also what the word starts with.
What word?
A rude word.
Oh, yes, it is, yes.
But anyway. Then C, so.
Yeah, oh, all right, yeah. I didn't think this was a subject matter today, but anything else you want to cover before we move on to Extinction?
Yes, I want to do a little bit of a brief safety announcement that this episode is being recorded when we're expecting a number of parcels and we're the only ones home.
Okay.
And also there's a cat in the room, so anything could happen.
It could indeed. It could indeed. So we've got to listen out for that. So there might be a quick break and then back into it again.
Oh, you know, I started my new job.
Yes, you started a new job, didn't you?
And it's within it's a kind of training role.
Yep.
And by a kind of training role, it's a training role.
Yeah.
Where I train people.
Yep.
I've been training the cat some tricks. You
have been training the cat.
Yep.
Ridiculously, yes.
He's really good. Well, he's kind of good, as long as he's paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, he does look a bit bemused some of the time because he's only awake for, say, 25 minutes a day. And when you're that 25 minutes, you're getting him to stand and sit and things like that.
He's got, he can sit, he consistently sit now.
Yeah.
Like, when you go sit and move your hand up, sometimes he preempts it and already sits. Sometimes he's already sitting anyway. But he now does stand, where he stands up on his hind legs and grabs your hand. And today we were learning down, where he lays down.
Well, see, he's evolving then, isn't he? He's and bearing in mind we're talking about extinction today. He as a species is thinking, if I'm going to keep getting those treats,
just the one species. He is one species.
Well, he's one of his species. Just getting those treats. If I do these different things, then hello.
Someone's just arrived home.
Who's that?
I don't know. We'll just carry on anyway. See if they appear.
Then. Right. I think I know who that's going to be.
I think I know it is as well.
Yes. So extinction. The definition of extinction. The fact or process of a species, family or other group of animals or plants becoming extinct. So does that make sense to you? Yeah,
it links quite well with evolution as well. And the fact that you've got the survival of the fittest and things will go extinct if they can't survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense to me.
It does make sense to you, yeah. Well, I didn't realise, right? I must admit, I was quite ignorant to this, and I thought to myself that there was one big extinction. You know, we're not specifically going to talk about dinosaurs.
Are you like mass extinction?
Mass extinction, right? I thought like the Ice Age. I thought, no, sorry. And that's where it sort of starts to mess up. Is I had this idea that the asteroid hit the Earth, the dinosaurs were wiped out.
You had the idea.
No, I didn't have the idea. It wasn't my fault. But, you know, that was in my memory, this is what happened, right? But I didn't know too much about it. But when I started looking into it, there's a number of times that it's pretty much wiped out most of the life on Earth.
Yeah, we're probably due another mass extinction, aren't we?
Yeah, we probably are, but not before the end of
Imminently.
this podcast. Disappointingly.
We're due another ice age, aren't we?
Well, they talked about that as well, didn't they? But I just... You've got... I'm going to read these
another
out.
ice age is just coming out. It's the...
it's a new Ice Age film.
It's the one with the two... They go back down to the dinosaur. Hi, Becky. Becky's coming.
I knew it was her. I didn't realise that.
She's realised we're recording. She's backing slowly back down the stairs.
Back off.
We'll talk to you in about 10 minutes.
Right, so basically, and I'm not going to go into massive detail of this, but I didn't realise, like, the Ordovician extinction around 400... the same. Do you want it said the same way?
Yes, please.
Ordovician extinction around 445 million years ago. Most of the casualties were marine invertebrates.
Are you okay?
I know, it's brachiopods, trilobites and corals. Movement caused by the movement of supercontinent Gondwana, causing sea levels to rise and fall dramatically. Right, so we've talked,
similar to...
Yeah. Then you've got the late Devonian extinction around 370 million years ago.
Devonian, is that because it was in Devon?
It could be. Again, marine invertebrates who seem to get clobbered each time in these ones, and corals were nearly wiped out in that particular one. With the spread of plant life on land at a rate that caused changes in the environment, right? So then you get on to, and I think this is the largest extinction in the history of Earth, which is the Permian-Triassic extinction, 252 million years ago, killed off so much life on Earth that is known as the Great Dying. 95%.
Is that what they referred to it at the time as well?
Not at the time, no. I don't think they referred to it. They just referred to it as, what? 95% of marine species, right? They said, waylay them while they tried running away from it. 95% of marine species and 70% of land-dwelling vertebrates were destroyed. 95% of marine species. That's like 5% of 100%.
It is, isn't it?
Of wiping out everything. And
so if they just had 5% more, then it would be everything.
I know. I mean, that's really, really quite frightening. You know, we talk about, and we're going to talk about the extinction of particular animals and that, and the way it's affected, dependent on these are actual sort of seismic events. These aren't man-made events. These are all before man.
Because there could be a mass extinction that's man-made
of particular, not a mass extinction perhaps, but certainly on a reasonable scale.
No, I don't know.
Then, if that weren't bad enough, that was asteroid impacts, volcanoes and climate change. Then you had the Triassic-Jurassic extinction 201 million years ago. A third of marine species vanished, as did most large amphibians. Also, many species related to crocodiles and dinosaurs. So I guess that's the sort of stuff when you're at school, that's what you're starting to learn about, because it's the biggest thing is around this is dinosaurs, and you always think of dinosaurs when you think of extinction, and you know, as a kid, most kids are fascinated at one point in their lives with it. And then the last one...
Some don't grow out of it.
Yeah, some don't. Cretaceous...
Ark, by the way.
Paleogene extinction... 65 million years ago, dinosaurs, pterosaurs, early mammals, amphibians, birds, reptiles and insects, many marine reptiles also wiped out. Scientists estimated that 75% of species living at that time were wiped out. I mean, that's mad. That's mad when you think of that sort of thing. But then when you look at it and it says in the last 50 years... the Earth has lost 68% of wildlife, 85% of wetlands because of us. So it's a different kind of thing.
Can you smell toast?
I can smell toast. Yeah,
Becky's come
I'm starting
in.
to get really
She's
hungry.
definitely
again.
making snacks.
She's definitely just
downstairs.
come in like she normally
doesn't even
does.
live here.
She doesn't live here. She just comes around here and makes food.
She does. I heard her go to the cupboard. It sounds like she was getting crisps out the cupboard.
Yeah, she's going to be gutted because her dressing gown's up here in the bathroom, and she always likes to pop that on when she comes around like some sort of bizarre smoking jacket.
There's more people due to come round, so
it could be mad. This we've got the door open because of the parcels being delivered. Well, although we have someone here now that can pick them up, so that's not so bad. Just another thing, right? In the last 22 years, a total of 17 animal species extinct, most of them in the US. But in the last 22 years, so in your lifetime, 17 more animal species, at least, really, have gone into extinction.
Well, yeah, there's going to be some that you're not aware of because you're going to be there are some species of animal on this planet that you are not aware of.
Well, yeah, quite.
They often find new species of fish.
Oh, they do, and obviously there is still the potential for new species to be or new subspecies to be identified.
Aquatic is a lot more likely that you will find an aquatic animal that hasn't been discovered yet. Though there is still the potential of land animals to be discovered.
Oh, right. I wondered where that was going. That seemed to taper off, that last thing. Well, you talk about that. Recently extinct animals. The western black rhino in 2006.
Yep.
The Pyrenean ibex in 2000. A bargee or beige dolphin in 2000. Not just one. All of them.
Well, that's how it would
the
have
last
ended.
one, yeah, 2017. The white rhino in 2018. The Spix macaw 2019, and a splendid poison frog in 2020. So
luckily, the fantastic poison frog wasn't.
No, he was all
extinct.
Right. Just the splendid.
How about
it's working.
Tasmanian tiger. That was one that went.
That went a little while back. That did go a little while back. Probably
pre-pandemic.
Something in my mind. I've seen
black and white
photos. You've seen photos of it. So that could be a long, long while ago, couldn't it? So. But it basically, in recent history, yes, that has been one that's disappeared. But it's just...
although there was a thing that potentially there might be some just that people haven't found.
Well...
This always crops up. This always
crops up that there could be. Because there's this idea, and there's another subject matter coming up next week, which covers a little bit of this and goes into this sort of area. But there's... We talked once before about species and saying that surely we've explored every part of Earth. Now, you've made the point about the oceans because obviously there's parts of the oceans, there's a huge percentage of the ocean we haven't
We've explored more of the moon than the ocean, haven't
Exactly. I think that's what you said last time. But there are still places on Earth. It seems... that isn't the case, but there are still very remote places that are hardly seen. So you know, and there are animals that they know exist. And I'm not going to go on to this because this goes into another territory. But something like the snow leopard, and you just didn't see them. They exist. They knew they were there, but you just didn't see them.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because they're white. Do you know what colour snow is?
They're up in the mountains a lot of the time, so it's not always. Yeah, snow's white. Yeah,
snow's white.
Okay,
there you go.
All right, so that's it then, is it?
Yep. Have you ever tried to find the cat in a dark room? He's black.
And when he shuts his eyes, it's almost impossible to see him anyway.
He looks at dead pixels when he stands in front of the TV.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How animals work. Number 17. The badger. A distant cousin of the zebra, or zebra, these carnivorous nocturnal terrors roam the streets looking for prey. Like a short-legged, ground-sniffing goth, the badger comes in 3 types: male, female and child, and live in burrows in the ground, called holes.
So Dad, very important question. What's your favourite dinosaur?
What's my favourite dinosaur?
Yeah.
I don't know why I went on that. I don't know.
Don't worry, if you can't think of one, just try and distract from that and just shout waylay
Way lame. I think I quite like the Velociraptors.
Is that because of Jurassic Park?
It is, because I'll be perfectly honest. Because before the original Jurassic Park film,
Cat's licking his bum.
the first one, just trying to get the taste of those treats.
Wow. Back for seconds.
Before Jurassic Park, I didn't know that Velociraptors existed ever.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
They weren't they more of a recent discovery prior to Jurassic Park?
Well, I think they were more a recent discovery, but also, it wasn't me just being ignorant. People knew of, Tyrannosaurus Rex was the one. You didn't ever think that a smaller dinosaur would be the one. Let's face it, in those films, the T-Rex ends up being the hero. A spoiler alert, in most of them.
Yep.
But in these, all right, in more recent films, but I hadn't even heard of them. I'd heard of the Stegosaurus and I've heard of like a Brachiosaurus and things like that. And I'm trying to think of other things. Did I say Stegosaurus? Diplodocus.
Pteranodon?
Yeah, things like that. So you'd hear of these Iguanodon. That's the one probably I'd have heard of.
Parasaur.
So what's your favourite dinosaur?
I quite like iguanodons. That's because I really quite like the film Iguanodon, because I really quite like the film Dinosaur, and also Carnotauruses are the ones that are terrifying in Dinosaur.
I don't know, they call them Carnotauruses because they eat meat.
Carnotaur.
That's not a real dinosaur, is it?
Yeah, Carnotaurus, yeah.
Is it a real one, or is it just something they're throwing in there?
It's a real dinosaur.
Oh, right, okay.
It's like a smaller version of a T-Rex.
There are absolutely,
there's
thousands.
loads of... When you see a Tyrannosaurus Rex, there's lots of similar looking dinosaurs to that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's only one Tyrannosaurus Rex.
But
well, actually, there's more than one, but...
But that's what people think. And if you talk about extinctions...
Ankylosaurus.
A what?
Ankylosaurus. Yeah, do you remember Jurassic World? Do you remember when they roll into that back bit just before the Indominus Rex appears, and there's those groups of dinosaurs with the big kind of boulder tails?
Oh, right, yeah.
The ones that whack things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're called, yeah.
Ankylosaurus, yeah.
All right, okay. Well, dinosaurs obviously...
Compy.
For God's sake, will you shut up? They're the little ones, aren't they? Right, that's it, right? No more. You're not allowed to say anymore. Every time you say another dinosaur name, you have to put £5 in a jar
a baryonyx.
For me. Right, that's £5. Right? Obviously...
Spinosaurus.
Right.
Carry on, stop. I've stopped now.
I've got 10 quid now already. Right, so... we think of those on a mass extinction sort of basis, but obviously there's lots of animals, we just covered a few of them in the previous section, that have been more recently extinct, and the reason they've become extinct is mainly because of what we've done. There has been a certain amount of climate change in that that's happened, probably because of us as well, but there's natural reasons. There are natural reasons why. Excuse me.
You're excused.
But so I'm going to go through a few so we can discuss them, right? And we can sort of work our way through those. So one that I think you would be particularly interested in, because you've got quite an affection for elephants. So I'm going to talk about the woolly mammoth. Now, or Mammuthus primigenius, as I like to call them normally when I talk about them. Yes, yeah.
Right. Is that what you talk to them down at work? When I
talk about them at work, when we often have talks about extinct animals
and the Ice Age and
the Ice Age, yeah. So the woolly mammoth, right now, the stuff I've read, the stuff I've watched about them,
an ancestor of the elephant, modern elephant,
ancestor of the modern elephant, but more closely related, even though they're huge in size, because that's the thing about a lot of these animals at that time. They were absolutely gigantic. It's actually the Asian elephant that it's related to, as opposed to the African elephant, which is the biggest one that we've got in.
And then the African elephant comes from the Asian elephant.
Does it really?
Well, that's what I would suggest, wouldn't it?
What? So the mammoth is a close relative to the Asian elephant.
Well, I guess if they've both look, so if they've got a common ancestor, so an Asian elephant and a African elephant will have a common ancestor, yeah?
Mm.
So maybe their common ancestor, they have... So essentially Asian elephant have one less common ancestor to a woolly mammoth than an African elephant. So it means that if you were to draw it, it'd be slightly more skewed towards an Asian elephant. But
Right.
Asian elephant and African elephants are within the same family.
Right.
Same as rhinoceroses, really, as well, to be fair. But that goes... But you've also got pygmy elephants.
You have indeed, yes. You've actually got, as well, I didn't realise, there are...
Can we get a pygmy elephant?
almost classes like giant tusked elephants that are within the African elephants. There are a particular
there's loads
subspecies.
of different... Yeah.
Excuse me.
You're excused.
And I actually was watching something about elephants the other day, or watching something about Africa and the savannah, and they were hunting as in to photograph these elephants, and they finally came across them, and they're incredible. The tusks reach down to they almost look mammoth-like in the actual bulk of them, because they're very big elephants, and also the fact that their tusks reach down like most mammoths
when we're
depicted, and if you look at mammoth tusks.
When we're saying African elephant, Africa's such a huge place. There's a number of different species of elephant within Africa. But then there's all we've discussed this before, but locally there's been many years ago within Southend, obviously many years ago, there would have been, which has now gone extinct, the straight-tusked elephant.
Bonkers, isn't it, to think that?
Because they found
I mean, when you think about this, as it is as a landmass, as it is now, we've had other animals that are no longer around, like bears and wolves and things like that. They're talking about reintroducing wolves. But to think of more exotic, as we'd see them, more exotic animals, that just seems bizarre, doesn't it? Oh, it's just exploded. The thing is, as well, it's one of the best studied ones because they've actually found, they've found specimens in places like Siberia, which have been not fossils, but actually sort of skin and hair.
Yeah, like
fur or whatever,
like when you
like
freeze your leftover lasagna.
Yeah, so they've dug up, and they wasn't sure at the start when they dug it up because someone hadn't bothered putting a label or written on top of that what it was,
and
so
when
then
it was put in the freezer.
So to open it up and sniff it, right, to say, does that smell like bolognese? Does that smell like a mammoth? Right. So so it's a big bugbear of mine, and probably me that does it most of the time as well. But so.
When you put mammoths in the freezer?
When I put, we haven't got a lot of room in our freezer, to be honest. But they were really a victim of one thing about a lot of these things is the bulk of them. So they're huge animals, so they have to eat a huge amount of food all the time. But they also, the temperature, the climate changes were a big impact on them. But also, we were about then as well. Not me and you, but our predecessors. And so they were hunted as well.
I've got quite a bit. Do you reckon I descend from woolly mammoths?
You may well have, yeah. So we had a part to play in their downfall, but I think probably, and this is not a scientific study of it, but it was more a climate problem for them than it was anything else.
Well, you think about it, you're wearing a big coat.
Yeah, and they can't just slip it off and say, it's getting a bit
Maybe
warm
that's what
now.
elephants are.
Perhaps they are. They're mammoths without their coats on. Well, they are mammoths without their coats on, let's face it. Right, moving on, right? And this is something that is not extinct, right? But in my lifetime has always been up there at the top of the list of animals that are likely to become extinct. More recently, the population seems to have been on the rise, but that's the giant panda. Right, I didn't know...
Not the little panda.
No, the giant one. We're talking about the really big ones.
Yeah.
40 foot tall. No.
They're no longer critically endangered, are they?
No longer, because of the work that they've done with them as well. There's an awful lot of work that us as humans have done with them to...
the Chinese.
Well, it is mainly the Chinese, to be honest with them. Yeah, that have tried to reinstate the population, try to increase the population by making sure that they have reserves that they are able to live in, wide expanses. That's always the biggest problem these days.
And panda nurseries.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched those videos?
I have watched those videos.
They're hilarious.
There
always seems to be a panda falling over.
They always fall over. Did you know they used to eat meat? There was a change in their... Because one of the things that's always been the problem...
Veganism was on the rise.
You reckon that's what it was, right? Well, basically, the reason I thought that they would struggle so much, giant panda, is one, because they've got such a unique diet, where they only eat bamboo, right? So, that's going to cause a problem if you've got one singular thing you eat. And also, their reproduction is unbelievably ridiculous as well. They ovulate for about... The females ovulate for about 45 seconds every 400 years. So... that might not be accurate.
I don't think that's completely accurate, yeah.
So I thought that's why it happened, right? And but it's more complex than that, and actually it's shown that with the right environments, with giving them some other sort of care and attention, that population has increased. One thing I would say, and this is a slight aside, right? I read, and this is where you've got to be very careful when you're starting to investigate these things, and I've come a cropper on this once before, or numerous times before. It is incredibly difficult to sex a baby panda because it's not obvious at birth, right? And I thought, right, okay, that's fine. I went on to read, and this was actually legitimately on there, right? All pandas are born female, right?
Right.
Males are only created if a panda receives a fright in its first 48 hours of life, right? This is why some zoos employ panda spookers. Right? That was put in as a passage.
Real,
it can't be real, can it? I'd love it to be real. So basically, all pandas in there, and if you want particular male ones, you go up to them and go, and they suddenly go, and it pops out. Well, there you go. So that's an actual job.
You scared my willy out of me.
Yeah. But that's, I guess, something in my lifetime that has been a success story, because it looked very much like.
Has it been a success story though? Because wasn't there pretty much a thing of going, right, we either save this insect that no one really knows about, or we save the giant panda?
Well, there was always an argument to say if it's something's fluffy and cuddly and looks cute,
they're going to save
then people are going to save them ahead of things that they think, well...
It's the face of the WWF.
Well, it is.
The World Wrestling
Foundation, yeah. Why they got involved in that, I don't know. But one of the biggest sponsors.
But it's that, and it's cute and fluffy. People don't notice the insects, but what does the insect do? It pollinates everything. It keeps the world running.
And arguably, and we've talked about this before, arguably the giant panda is the victim of its own downfall. A large proportion of it is to do with the reproduction. Now, if that's because its environment has changed, and that's because of us, then that's one thing. But it seems like it's a bit of hit and miss. I know in captivity it's always a problem, and that is to do with us. But I'm not sure it's 100% our issue that the pandas were on the wane. Have we got time for a couple more? The tigers in general, right? So there's a number of species of tigers, are beautiful animals. I absolutely adore tigers. Incredible.
Like cats, but bigger.
Oh, they are like cats, but bigger, yeah.
Just for
you've got the Caspian, Bali, and Javan tiger already extinct. Right? They've all and I don't know the sort of timescales of that. I got a feeling the Javan tiger wasn't that long ago. But they're extinct now. You've still got about 8 different species: Bengal, Siberian, Sumatran. But anyway, global wild tiger population around about the 3,000 to 4,000 mature individuals. They're in isolated pockets, so India has the highest number of tigers. But again, their habitat has been taken away from them. they've then, especially in India, this is the case. Then they've started to, because their habitat's been encroached. They have quite a big sort of area that they have as their hunting area, and so that starts to come into villages. That starts to come into where things have been built up. So then there's more and more tiger-human encounters, which never go well. More than likely for the tiger who gets killed. So again, it's...
You watched Jungle Book 2?
I love the way you bring in, I mean, it's probably more accurate than some of the stuff I read off the internet, but you like to bring in stuff from popular culture.
Yeah, Jungle Book 2, because I brought up Jurassic Park as well this episode.
Yeah.
Jungle Book 2, they all live in a little village, didn't they? That Mowgli's moved into, and like some of the animals come into the village, like Baloo, because he wants to see Mowgli. And and they get very angry about these animals coming to the village.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I've got an idea that, because I think a lot of the problem is the fact that human population just increases and spreads and spreads and spreads. Maybe we should restrict all humans to just one continent.
All humans to just one continent.
Yep.
What one?
There's quite a lot of humans in Europe, isn't there? There's a lot of space in America.
Yeah, but what about the wildlife in America?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about all the wildlife in Europe as well.
Well, that's just the problem, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you go.
Why don't we move everyone to Europe, but move all the animals from Europe onto the UK, and they can all live in the UK?
Oh, right, so the UK is one big...
Yeah, so we move out of here,
reserve.
And then... Not that big. But yeah, all the animals from across Europe.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think you should go with that. I think you should definitely do that. Right, have we got much more time to go?
We haven't, but go ahead.
All right. I'm just going to then... I'll just cover a couple more things.
Because I got distracted.
You got distracted. One that I had, giant ground sloth, 12 foot tall, South American, herbivore. Small groups of them used to roam around. But again, climate change and human hunting.
Yeah, it was 12 foot tall, did you say?
12 foot tall.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it?
That is huge. And that was the thing, to be honest. A lot of species have died out because at the time they needed to be huge. They needed to have bulk to them. But as soon as climate change, as soon as something in that environment changed, then suddenly being that big was a real problem for them.
Yeah, it makes me worry about rugby players.
Yeah. So perhaps you should take all the rugby players and put them in Ireland, right? All on Isle of Wight.
Yeah, all
on a Wight.
And then all the trees would grow bigger because
they'd need to, because they can reach up and take them. Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good idea.
Thank you.
Okay, and the other one that I've got down... Well, I've got a few down here that I haven't talked about, but one that we haven't talked about, and is one of the things that people... Even the expression dead as a... is the dodo, right? But I won't say a great deal about it here, because I've written a song about it.
Oh. Well, let's listen to the song then.
Okay, go for it.
My name is Jojo, I am a dodo, and it's not all that fun just being me. They say we're stupid, is that what you think? If you dig a little deeper you will see. We're not all that delicious, and our home is in Mauritius, and our wings are oh so tiny, we can't fly. But we're strong and we're ferocious, and a little bit precocious. Stick around and I might just tell you why. One day it rained and some lads from Spain, their ship sunk and they swam up to the shore. It was a Monday, they were quite hungry, sorts of meat on which they could just gnaw. We're not all that delicious, and our home is in Mauritius, and our wings are oh so tiny, we can't fly. But we're strong and we're ferocious, and a little bit precocious. Stick around and I might just tell you why. Our meat's just fat and gristle. Our bums are pretty big. It's not the men that will kill us. It's the rats and pigs. We're not all that delicious, and our home is in Mauritius, and our wings are oh so tiny, we can't fly. But we're strong and we're ferocious, and a little bit precocious. Stick around and I might just tell you why. We're not all that delicious, and our home is in Mauritius, and our wings are oh so tiny, we can't fly. But we're strong and we're ferocious, and a little bit precocious. Stick around and I might just tell you why. My name is Jojo, I am a dodo, and it's not all that fun just being me. They say we're stupid, is that what you think? If you dig a little deeper you will see. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Game time.
Woohoo! Onwards with a game.
Oh, another low voice.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you
Why?
for acknowledging this one.
Why are you doing low voices at the beginning of these things?
Are you just mad at my many talents?
At your many talents, right? Okay. So we've got a game this time.
We come to this point in the podcast
Yes.
where we must play a game.
We must play a game.
To
Well,
keep ourselves entertained.
It's not really a game because, in a certain respect, it is one
I've
of
played
these.
the game time sting, Dad.
Yeah, but
So it has
it's
to be referred
that
to as a
section.
game.
But basically, I thought what we try and do is, there's been animals that have become extinct over those many years we've talked about.
As we've already discovered.
Which ones of those would you particularly like to bring back? And also, are there any animals that still exist that we really could do without because we don't like them much? So, I mean, that's not very PC, but never mind. This isn't really about that, is it? So, why don't you play my sting for this?
Oh, do you remember them? I wish they were still around. Oh, I don't like them. I'm glad they're gone. Ooh, just imagine if you had one of them. I wish they could be wiped off the face of the earth.
I played your sting for this, and what a lovely sting it was.
Thank you. I know you always love them, don't you?
Yeah, I love them very much. So
Right.
I'm going to have them played at my wedding.
Are you?
Yeah, all of them.
Excellent. All of them, one after another.
Yeah, it's going to be a long wedding, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. I'm starting to think for all
All of the
stings.
episodes are going to be played as well.
Wow, God.
So that's going to be
You're not
over
gonna
a
be married for long, are you?
66 hour.
Yeah,
wedding.
that's going to last longer than your marriage if you actually sit there and play them during your wedding. Okay.
Yeah, because you kept getting confused that we're on 50 episodes. That meant that was the same as like almost your age.
Yeah, I said it was our 50th anniversary. It was the anniversary of our 50th episode. That's what I was trying to make. And of course you jumped on it like someone jumping on something. Right, anyway, I'm going to pitch for this particular animal stroke beast.
When you say pitch, is it going to be like Dragon Den style, or am
not
I
so
going
much
to decide whether I want to kill
You're
this
in.
animal
No.
or bring them back?
Bring them back. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
hello.
I kicked
Wow.
the table.
So I'm going to start with this one, and it's called Gigantopithecus.
Oh, I know the Gigantopithecus.
Right.
He's in the Jungle Book.
He is. Well, the recent, as we used to talk about it when you were younger, Jungle Book Real, which means that there's someone in it
Live
rather
action.
than live action one. Right. They are in the most recent one.
Came from Peter Pan reel, by the way. as
King
background.
Louis or when he goes to,
I know a lot
where-
about Gigantopithecus, by the way.
Right. So that it's a giant orangutan
Orangutan-like creature.
9.8 feet tall.
Yep. So not as big as the ground sloth.
No, but an absolutely huge.
He was bigger than that in Jungle Book real though.
It's a lovely animal, right? Beautiful. I mean, anybody that sees, I love orangutans. I make no secret of the fact that they're my favourite animal, and this is just a massive. Oh, there's someone at the door.
Someone at the door.
It's just. Thank you very much for letting us know that, just in case we didn't hear the bashing down of the door.
Someone's answered the door. It's fine.
It's fine. That's great. We're going to kick on. This is just. Oh,
no,
thank
Becky
you.
shouted delivery. Thank you, Becky.
So anyway,
Then my phone's going
orangutan's
off.
my favourite.
Yeah, stop talking for both of us.
Right. So, if you've got a favourite animal, if it's beautiful, if it's gentle, if it's intelligent, if it's just it's an incredible thing to be with. I mean, at the time I spent as a keeper at one of the zoos, I know zoo, blah blah blah, but was one of the most
Time you spent. Just to clarify, you did a keeper for the day experience,
and part of it was with
you make
the
it sound like
orangutans.
you used to be a zookeeper.
I wish I did. I'm skilled in it. Anyway, it was one of the most incredible times of my life. These are incredible animals. And to have one that's 9.8 feet tall, it's bigger, it's better, it's gentler. Everything looks bigger anyway, doesn't it?
As long as you don't watch Jungle Book.
Yeah, but that's a film. That's not real. But these things existed, These things were actually. I mean, imagine that. We always, you look in films and with King Kong and the giant gorillas and all the rest of it. No one ever thought, because it wouldn't be quite the same with a giant orangutan as well. Because they're just lovely.
Do you know why they? Do you know why they used a Gigantopithecus in the Jungle Book film?
Why?
So, when they were doing the Jungle Book film, I think in the original Jungle Book, King Louis wasn't a thing like the actual book.
No, probably in the.
I think he got added for the animated.
Rudyard Kipling Jungle Book.
I don't know. J.K. Rowling.
No.
But anyway, I think he got added. But anyway, he was in the animated version, wasn't he, King Louis? But he was an orangutan.
Mm.
Although he didn't have big phalanges, which suggests he was a female orangutan. But whatever. There was an orangutan in the Jungle Book. But as we know, orangutan in Jungle Book is set in India.
Yep.
And orangutans don't come from India.
No.
So they had this thing, they wanted to keep it kind of as realistic as possible to an extent, but apart from the fact that it's a huge Gigantopithecus. But
it's even bigger than Gigantopithecus.
There's like monkeys on there that
would
look like
be.
fleas.
Yeah.
But anyway, everything in that film was a bit bigger anyway. But they picked the Gigantopithecus because it would be thought to potentially have been native to India.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was more widespread because obviously it was slightly different.
Bigger feet.
Yeah. Interestingly, over 1.5 times taller than David Attenborough.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think I can't see any downside.
How tall's David Attenborough then? Is he over 6 foot?
Apparently he is. It looks like he is, yeah. He's 1.78 metres tall. So what is that?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know what that is in feet? Right, okay. Anyway, so I cannot see a downside of having the Gigantopithecus roaming.
I think it's just under 6 feet, by the way.
Oh, well, maybe about 6 foot. It's about 6 foot. Of them roaming the countryside, the world. There's no downside to it. I just think it would be an incredible thing to have one of these gentle giants back in existence. So that's my first pitch. Thank you very much. Would you agree? Would you like that? The cat woke up then when you clapped.
Okay. Yep, I think Gigantopithecus would be an interesting one, just mainly because it's an interesting word to say.
It is, isn't it? It's quite.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I can actually say it.
I'm surprised you said it as well.
Okay, have you got one, or should I go on to my next one?
So, if I was to bring back any animal, I think there's not much discussion around this, but I would love to bring back the woolly mammoth.
Right, the one we've been talking about. Yeah,
that I love woolly mammoths.
Yeah,
and I've even been thinking about how it potentially is possible to bring back a woolly mammoth.
Right.
I've been thinking about it a lot over time, and yeah, I think that should happen, because one of the big problems with cloning, because I think there's been a lot around cloning, and one of the first animals they always talk about cloning is a mammoth, don't they?
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it necessarily be that much of it could potentially happen.
Well, no, they have talked about
But
it,
you probably
and they
have to have a surrogate.
Yes.
And the surrogate would have a bit of trouble carrying a mammoth.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? So it wouldn't be a true in the style of Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs aren't real dinosaurs. They aren't real dinosaurs because their DNA is not pure.
Oh,
They're
right, you
made
mean
up
that.
of animals.
But they are real in existence.
What do you mean, real in existence?
Well, the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park are real, but they're just not actual dinosaurs. Is what you're saying?
I'm saying
they're a hybrid.
In the Jurassic Park world,
Yeah, but in the real world,
they
Jurassic
haven't
Park
brought
exists.
back dinosaurs, right? They have brought back something that looks like dinosaurs.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
that's the whole point. And if
Yeah.
you brought back a mammoth, you're potentially not bringing back a mammoth. You're bringing back something that looks like a mammoth. It's not an actual mammoth.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways that potentially could be done that you could bring it back as close to as possible.
As close to as possible.
If not exact.
Ah.
But my point being is, if you have a surrogate,
Yeah.
one, the surrogate might potentially reject what's inside
But
it.
wouldn't a surrogate... I don't know how that particularly works, but...
You'd need the big elephants that you spoke about earlier to be a surrogate.
Right. But they have talked about it, and because they've found flesh and hair, specifically because of finding frozen specimens, there is much more of a possibility of them doing that.
Have you ever considered cloning yourself?
Do you know, I don't think the world's ready for two of me. I'm not. I get the hump with myself as it is. Unless all the unfortunate things that happen to me happen to the other person, I'm not interested.
All right. But yeah, I'd bring back a mammoth.
Would you clone yourself?
Yeah,
Would you?
maybe.
Why?
Because then if you went, it's mini-me, it'll be quite literally mini-me.
Well, you'd like a little version of yourself.
No.
Oh, right. Why would it be mini you then if it was exactly the same?
Because it'd have to be born, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah. I see what you mean.
It'd just be the same me,
It's
but
not
like 23
instantly-
years younger.
Yeah, we just have a child. That's what happens. You're mini me, aren't you? So that's...
I'm not mini-you.
Well, you're not now, but you used to be.
So, I'd bring back a mammoth.
Okay.
Because one, I love elephants, and two, they're just amazing creatures, and I'd like to make friends with one.
Okay. No, I agree.
I've seen
I'd love
Ice
to
Age, and they
I'd
seem
love
quite
to
friendly.
see. I'd love to
I don't
see
see friendly,
mammoths
but-
roaming the countryside again.
Yeah,
Right, my
like,
next one.
Jubilee Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make it more interesting when you're out for a jog.
Yep. Heard of mammoths coming.
Exactly. Megalodon.
Yep.
Right. Now,
Do we need to explain what a megalodon is?
well,
Because there's some things that I feel like
I
it's
think
pretty
the
obvious,
other
but-
term for it is a mackerel shark, right? But it's basically a
Really-
prehistoric shark on a huge scale.
really, really big.
Yeah.
However, isn't there a chance there's been with megalodon? There's been an argument of we think it's extinct.
So this is again straying into different territory here, but there's a flip side of it. And like you said, because of the oceans, I mean, what it's a specific type of shark as opposed to, so you get abnormally large animals. So you'll get, I was just watching a video of abnormally large animals like I do, and there was like a dog and a cow that were miles bigger than they should have been. You know, there's always going to be
Maui's
something
pretty long. Look at
he's
him,
long.
mate.
He's fed all the time. That's why people keep doing tricks with him and keep giving him food. So there's a potential of there being a freakishly large shark, right?
I wouldn't use the word freakishly.
Well, you know,
because
abnormally
he's quite self-conscious.
abnormally large shark, right?
Right.
But whether that would be classed as a megalodon, because a megalodon was a specific type. Now, the megalodon was 33.5 feet long. That's the sort of rough measurement of it, which is like 17.9 meters long. Incidentally, 10 times David Attenborough's, they were, like feet to head. Again, like the Gigantopithecus, massive. Certainly would take the heat of normal size sharks, which, even though they've got this reputation of being frightening and because of films and such, are beautiful. No, with the exception perhaps of the goblin shark, they are absolutely beautiful creatures.
What's basking sharks aren't that beautiful either?
They are, but they're more like whale-like, aren't they? They have that look about them.
No teeth.
Well, yeah, they've just got the sort of
Mouth.
feathered sort of
Mouth.
skin flaps.
Mouth.
Mouth. But, you know, obviously they get this bad rap for being vicious and attacking people. They don't do that. I mean, that there are attacks, and quite often those attacks, I think they're probably mistaking them for seals, people on surfboards, or people swimming. Because below water, looking up, and I've seen lots of things about it. If you've got someone
you often mistake people on surfboards for seals, don't you? And go and try and nibble at them.
Yeah, often try and capsize them, but that's just a reputation I'm trying to keep up. So, yes, I got this sort of fixation with, and it would be a frightening, but an absolutely awesome sight. I've never seen a whale, right? I've only seen ones in captivity, but I'd love to go whale spotting, be out on ship and see the absolute bulk and size of these creatures, because they're absolutely incredible, and within the water as well. It's like effortless. That's the only way they can reach those sizes, because on land something that size would be too cumbersome. It wouldn't be able to move about like that.
Should we move on to my next one?
Okay,
if that's all right.
Yep, that's fine. Am I going to have that then? Can we have a megalodon back?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
why not?
Cheers.
Now, I'm a little bit uncertain about with my next one what I'd bring back, because there's a number of things I'd love to bring back. Just to name a few, woolly rhino would be a good one as well.
Yeah, you like your woolly big things, don't you?
Saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah,
would be a really cool one. Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah,
would be another cool one. But I think what I would love would be a triceratops.
Right.
Yeah.
So something, right, okay.
Like a big rhino-like dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yep. Just because they're cool.
Were they herbivores?
Yep.
Yep, so that keeps it
herbivores
in that
and
sort of...
herd animals, so we'd have to have multiple of them.
Yeah.
I like my herd animals, it appears.
Yes, it does, by the look
because even my new fish are schooling fish.
They are.
And they're I like them in groups.
In groups.
Thank you for repeating every other word that I say.
You're welcome.
Oh, you didn't? That wasn't a repeat.
It wasn't.
No. So yeah, I would quite like to bring back a triceratops, because I think they'd be quite cool. Just have wandering around. They could walk alongside the woolly mammoths. They could basically be like they could be the ones without the coats.
They'd be mates. You think they'd be
yeah,
friends?
I reckon they'd be buddies.
Yeah.
A bit like I always picture rhinos and elephants to be buddies, and hippos.
Yeah, because
they're all grey.
All grey, yeah. Okay. I don't think hippos are friends with anybody. I think they're a bit of a nightmare.
Other
aren't they?
hippos.
Yeah, other hippos, but
Pygmy hippos though.
Oh, pygmy hippos look all right. We saw one last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Pygmy hippos are cute. But I get a feeling that you want to move on to your next one. I don't have much more to say about that.
Well,
no,
anyway. There's no more at present. As long as you can give me the Gigantopithecus and the megalodon, I don't worry about anything else. There's a couple of things I'd like to get rid of.
Should we go through quickly what we'd like to get rid of?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Frogs and toads.
Yep, I understand why.
Right. All togs, as I call them, because I don't like to differentiate between frogs and toads, so I call them togs. Right. Yeah. Did you know all toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads? Anyway, the ones that particularly I find
like jacuzzis
baffling,
and hot tubs.
Yeah. Cane toads, right?
Yeah. Ugh.
Annoyingly creepy, right? There's no reason to be that large. They're like,
bigger than them.
They're nightmarish animals of the devil. You know, they are just horrendous. I can't really look at togs, right? I can't look at them. I got a glimpse of one at the zoo the other day, looking out at something. That was a toad, that one. but I find it really difficult. I've
How
got
about
a real
the little
problem
kind
with
of
them.
colourful frogs?
I'm a little bit better with like the old splendid arrow frog that got made extinct, or what is become extinct. I can just about look at them because they're very small.
I like the very small, colourful ones.
Yeah.
But if they're green, I don't know what it is, but
No.
I'm not so keen on
But
that. I reckon
cane-
that's probably your fault.
Cane toads.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think we both walked past one when we were somewhere else on holiday, and neither of us could look in that direction.
Do you know where that was?
Fault of it. Yeah, I do realise that was in Animal Kingdom,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Shall I go for one of mine?
Yep.
So now I've got one similar
Yep.
to you in the fact that I really don't like this kind of animal. So I would argue though with togs that they do serve a purpose in the fact that there's a lot of insects that they eat. Obviously, insects are really good, but sometimes if you just let them, we can get overrun with them.
Can we keep them small then?
Keep the togs small,
Yeah.
but some of them need to be bigger than the insects they're eating.
Yeah, right. But, I think you should have a standardised size, and they should keep to that. Anything above that, no.
Okay, I'm not that keen on snakes,
No, you're not.
especially
Yep.
really, really big ones.
Okay.
Ones that could eat me.
Yep.
Like anacondas and stuff,
Yep.
like the biggest snakes.
Yep.
Terrifying, because there's always stories about them eating alligators, and there's stories of them eating all these, and the fact that they eat them whole as well. There's no
Yep.
chewing. I can't stand the no chewing.
No.
Yeah,
And yet you can't sit next to your sister while she's eating, can you? If she ate everything
she spends
whole,
too much time chewing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Now, I understand. I don't have a problem with snakes, and I have got a bit of a fascination with humongous snakes. Always have done. Although, if I was near one...
Hello.
hello, I say to them, if I was actually near one in the wild, it would be rather alarming. I don't think I'd be so comfortable with it then.
Yeah. Behind some glass, you're okay with.
Last thing I want to bring up, I'm conscious of time, wasps. They're of no use. Lay eggs in other animals, which is horrible, despicable. Really shouldn't be able to do that.
Maybe they should just make a law against it.
Hang around picnics and pub beer gardens, which is what we have in England. Do they have pub beer gardens in the US, say, or is it bar gardens?
If they have a pub,
yeah.
sometimes they have
pubs as
an
such?
Irish pub or an English pub or something like that.
Well, basically, anywhere you're trying to sit in the sunshine and have a nice time.
It's a
And they're
garden
just
that you drink beer in,
absolute
basically.
a-holes. Huh?
It's a garden you drink beer in.
Yeah, exactly.
As part of a
They
pub.
pretend to be bees, but they're not bees, right?
They're in
Not,
disguise.
they're not even in the bees league, right? The bees are great. Bees are fantastic. Bees won't mess
I think
about
you could
with
say
you.
bees are A-list and then wasps are not.
Oh, well, it's kind of like you've got... Bees
are
you
A-list
know, you
insects.
see these celebrity programs, right? And you have the people that are the bees. They're the ones that don't class themselves as celebrities. They are just themselves. We class them as celebrities. Wasps,
Like comedians.
yeah, like wasps are the ones that are trying to be a celebrity. They're the Z-list celebrities that get pulled into these parties and try and get themselves in pictures and that, and really think that's the most important thing in the world. So wasps are...
Bees are like the
B-list.
naturally funny comedians, the ones that are just good at their job, good at what they do.
Bees, yeah.
And then wasps are the ones that come in, and the only way they can be funny is by making fun. And not directly making fun, but like making fun to the point where
upsetting
they're
people.
really upsetting
They're the people that down the pub, ironically, down the pub when you're with your mates, is the one that thinks he's a stand-up comedian that really isn't that funny at all and just
us.
annoys anybody. Yeah, it could be us, but, I don't lay my eggs in other people's bodies.
I've got one more, and this
Right.
one's a controversial one.
Right.
This is one animal that probably should be extinct.
Right.
In the not
Interesting.
the fact that I don't like I dislike them. I think they're fantastic animals, but it's a bit like a panda. They need too much. They're too stupid
Right.
that you just think,
Go on
why
then.
are you still alive? Koalas.
Koalas?
Koala bears. Do you know a koala? They don't know how to drink. They don't understand how to drink. Hence the reason they don't.
But they're Australian, aren't they?
Eucalyptus. They only eat eucalyptus.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. They will only eat eucalyptus if it's on a branch. If it's not on a branch, they don't understand it. They don't eat it.
So they're really, really stupid.
They're really, really stupid. They've near enough all got chlamydia.
Yeah, because didn't they give it to One Direction when they were cuddling them over in Australia once? Yep.
Yep. The wrong kind of cuddle though. Yeah, and they're just rather stupid and probably shouldn't exist. But everyone loves them, much like a panda.
I didn't
Everyone loves
realise.
them.
I didn't realise. I knew they eucalyptus leaves. I didn't realise they were that fragile of mind.
Whenever you see someone feed a eucalyptus to a koala, they normally have it on a stick.
Yeah, because
So
otherwise
it looks like a
wouldn't have
branch.
it. No.
If you just hand them a leaf, they'll just not understand that it's a eucalyptus
Wow.
leaf, and they only eat that.
Well, they're a bit like with the bamboo. Do they only eat that? They only eat eucalyptus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But they're like one of the only animals that can eat eucalyptus.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
No,
I did not know
koala,
that.
not whale. Koala.
Oh right. Oh, so I thought whales could eat eucalyptus as well. Only when the branches are really low above the water. So they're very similar in that respect. I mean, it's not an actual bear, is it? A koala bear, anyway. But like the panda.
Oh, and they just fall out of trees.
They do fall out of trees, yeah.
They fall out of trees and get injuries.
But don't they fall out of trees because they eat fruit? So that might be. Don't they eat fruit and get drunk?
Oh, that might
so
be
it's
it,
stuff that
But they fall out of trees, they get injured, and then they have to go to like the animal hospitals because they're falling out of a tree.
Oh, idiots.
Yeah, they are idiots. They're great,
Right.
but they're idiots.
Well, they're on our look. They're in the grey part. So if they don't up their game,
Yeah.
they could be going to whale or wasp, right? But if they just keep it going and they kind of try and at least try. That's
Lay
what
off-
you want the
lay off the
animals to do.
fruit a bit.
Just try.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Just try. And that goes for humans as well. Just try and be a better whatever you are.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. I think
it. I think we've sorted all that out.
I think we finished that episode. It's now extinct, that episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Someone
It
will
was-
be dusting down that episode and sort of looking at it and thinking, making up stories about what it really was and all the rest of it, like they do in all these books.
And then they listen to it and go, oh no, it's just a pair of idiots.
And they should have gone extinct like about 60 episodes before that.
Maybe 65 episodes before.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how many we'd
was
done
the
them.
66.
Right.
So, just before we go on to anything else, last week's episode, Dad,
On the Run, yeah.
On the Run, what a fun episode that was.
It was a fun thing to do and a fun thing to listen back to. Personally, it was as well because obviously we were involved in it. But it was a first for us because we did it. We had a version that was on YouTube, which had all the video as well in. Or we had 3 versions. I think there was the audio version, the podcast version. There was the...
On YouTube alone, there was 3 versions.
Oh, well, there was 3 versions on YouTube. So you had the podcast, you had the full... Because we videoed ourselves as the episode went out as well with Becky and Sam, who participated in the On the Run project. So no, all in all, good fun. Love to do it again at one point.
Number of people listen to it, but if you haven't listened to it already, like we've just said, there are multiple ways that you can listen to that particular episode. There is the YouTube channel, Father and Sundays. But if you go on to... I appreciate it's a bit difficult to find the YouTube channel. It's linked in the previous episode if you go onto an only podcast platform. Maybe if you go on fatherandsundays.com, there's the links to it directly on there as well, and you can also just watch it from there as well. But yeah, we've got multiple versions of it. One that's just purely us out and about, so you can listen to the episode, and if you actually want the visual aspects, you can go back and watch just the bits where we're out and about, or you can watch the entire episode because there's video of everything there.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I do. It's at some points during the audio, especially the audio, you may believe you may run into a premium line because there's a lot of heavy breathing and not a lot of chat, and that's usually when I've forgotten that we're supposed to be doing audio and I'm just
On the run.
Yes, quite.
But yeah, that was that. But the website, we did actually say about if you want more, include video and a couple more, just let us know. Haven't heard much, but we'll probably include it in some future episodes if it's relevant. We haven't done
To
this
whatever
one.
we do, yeah.
Yeah. Website, great place, fatherandsundays.com. I'll say it again. All the episodes available in there. Also links to all the different podcast platforms. You can go on any podcast platform. merchandise on there on the store page. Contact us. You can send us a message. You can even do that via email. Just let us know any comments, complaints, suggestions, questions on there as well. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can like and follow us on there as well, and also leave your own comments.
I'd very like to know if people out there, this giant panda spooking, baby panda spooking, whether that's an actual thing or not. So can you frighten a baby into being a male or a female?
You can in real life, like of humans.
Can you?
No.
Alright, okay. I'm going to say bye.
Alright, go on then.
Bye.